weeks ago, I posted a video about how I make scrappy strips. At least that's what I call them. This is a scrappy strip. I made 4 different blocks and I called them Real Original block number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you voted, and boy, did you vote. Well, this block number 4, was the clear winner. This block received more votes than any of the other 4 blocks. Today's video is how I changed it up. Oh my gosh, I had it up on my design wall and I was looking at it. Oh, I couldn't do it. There was too much blue space. I looked and I thought, oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And many of you supported my decision with saying I would do this to scrappy block number 4. What did I do? Let me show you. Hi, I'm Di with Sister Chicks Quilting, and ta-da! This went from this to this. Thoughts? I love it. As you can see, I've added the center blocks. Now, when I was looking at this quilt on the design wall, when it was just blocks like this, I saw an opportunity. And I took that opportunity, I figured out how to do it so they're all roughly the same size. I am going to show you how I made this. I have some tips and tricks because I made a bunch of these blocks to make this quilt, and I still have a few more to make it longer on the bottom. I want to go over those tips and tricks with you first. Then I'm going to take it down to Long Arm Studio and we are going to finish it in this video. I will select a design, I'll get it up on there, and I'll have a finished quilt at the end of this video. I'd love it if you would join me. And if you like my channel, you know what to do. Subscribe and like. I'm going to take you over directions to make this block number 4 again. You're going to need at the end of it a 12.5-inch square up ruler. I'll set that aside. And I might as well show you this, the elephant in the room. This is a bag of strips that I've made out of my scraps. And I can just reach in this bag and start sewing these anytime. You know what happens when you tell your friends you're making scrappy quilts and you show them the results? They do things like this for you. I said, well, I don't have a lot of scraps, but I have these and these and these. So I was pretty dang excited to get these from Blue Block. So they're going to get processed with the rest of my scraps. I'll see what I can get as far as 2.5-inch strips. And then I'm going to have some more of these. These are about 5 inches by whatever width I want, okay? You're going to need a 12-inch square of your background fabric. And then you want to cut it in half on the diagonal. So that's the same as the first time you made this block. Then you need a crispy strip or a scrappy strip. Now, the first time I showed you how to fold it like this, mark it, find the center on this. What a total pain in the butt that was. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't offend anybody out there. There's such an easier way to do it, and this is it. You take the end that is going to lay down like this, right sides together. See how that works? And you just lay that puppy down like this. Oh my gosh, is that all there is to it? And then you may look at it and think, you know, do I want this in? Because I could slide it up or I could slide it down. But I'm just going to put this almost to the end, give myself about 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to start pinning it on. When you pin, it makes you a better quilter, guys. So there's some things that I don't pin, but this I pin. Truthfully, this piece will get a little bowed. So here I am, all pinned on my crispy scrappy strip. Then I'm going to fold this over like so. And I am going to put the second side. And I am going to match it up to the first side. Now, remember that some of these are crooked, like all different sizes, with some of them are off on the angle a little bit. So I am just going to lay this on top like so, pull it up to where it is almost even, Steven, and I'm going to pin this side on, just like that. So this is certainly a change in the first directions, and it's much easier to do it this way. This end that I'm pinning, by the way, on the background strip is on the bias. So it could cause you a slight amount of heartburn, but slight amount is what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. Then I'm going to take it to the machine. And when I sew it, see how my... Oh, this example is a bad example because I added another one on, and usually all of my seams are pressed the same way. Most of them are going this way, so I'm going to sew it down that way, and then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to sew this down this way at 1/4 inch. So I will sew this at 1/4 inch and this at 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to give myself some room on the end. And I'm going to go right to this piece here. I like to unpick them. They unpick really fast. And press them out. There you go. And then you have this piece left over. After I sew these seams down here, I bring it to the ironing board and I finger press just a snitch. Blow the steam out of my Laura Star and press away. Now, I have not trimmed this strip up, or I have not trimmed this block up yet. And I want to make sure it is crispy. I like working with crisp. So, because I have not trimmed it, I'm going to starch it with just some cheap dollar store spray starch. My favorite place to buy it. And then I'm going to press it down. It's just easier to work with if everything is pressed and crispy. And no, I am not using steam on my Laura Star for this because I have all that starch. Now that I've got it pretty well set with the heat, I'll go ahead and give it a good press. All right, let's go to the cutting board. Did I say let's go to the cutting board? It's not like I'm working with a loaf of fresh bread here. That would be nice, but let's go to the mat. Okay, on the ruler, there's a diagonal line right down here. You can see it next to my hand. That's the line that I'm going to use in lining this block up. And I'm going to lay that diagonal line right down the middle, like so. I slide it over until these two side parts of a square are in about the same place. So if you take a look, here's the line running down like this on this side right here, and it's certainly not even. So I'm just going to swing this around until it is even Steven. And I have on these little side triangles about the same amount of fabric showing. So I like that. It's good. But you know what you can do? I really think this pink is a cute print, and I want more. So I am going to slide this puppy forward all the way to the end of that print. Oh, isn't that cool? And look, because I cut a 12-inch block, there's still plenty of sides left. One more time, because I slid it down, I'm going to check and line it up, and it's good to go. Here I go. Look at that. Walking around. What I don't want to do is waste all of this blue piece. So I'll cut it off like that. I'm going to go ahead and save this strip here for my scrap bag, but I'll do it just like this for now. My block is trimmed to 12.5 inches, but I have a few more tricks to show you, and I'm going to take you to the sewing machine and show you how I do these corners. Let's leave the breadboard here, the cutting board, LOL, and head over to the sewing machine. Okay, here is the big secret of the corners. I hope you're sitting down because this is a big one, man. These are just little tiny scraps. They're, well, that one may be 4.5 inches. Nope, it's not. So bottom line, these right here, I've cut at 4.5 inches. That's about the corner size I want. I did no measuring other than I made the first strip I use at 4.5 inches. And I sew it on like so. I'll take the first strip. This will look cool. And I try not to do it like this, but instead I try to make it so there's a nice triangle left here. Then holding it with my finger, I pick it up, take it to my machine, and I sew it off. Then I fold it down. And I turn it over and do this side. I'm going to continue to pull from this 4-inch pile, or 4.5-inch pile. And I want to press those, but I don't have a pressing machine right next to me. By the way, I think I'm going to use some of this that Blue Block gave me. Isn't that cute? And am I going to use the whole thing? I doubt it, but I had to open her scraps up. That looks good. Let's see, we'll use the pink sloth, okay? I'll meet you at my pressing table. Give it a quick steam press down. And this one, a quick steam press down. So when I'm working on these, I usually had it set up to where I would do 6 to 8 or even 4 at a time. I would sew all the corners on one side, come and press, then sit down. I thought that was a good use of my time. I thought I was filming that last segment, but to film you have to have the camera on, and I didn't. And what I want to show you is I am just continuing to add to these corners. But if you notice, I cut the backing, the background off. This one, I did not cut it off. And the reason I cut them off, because they get rather bulky. And you don't have to, it's purely optional. But I'm going to take this off right now. I notice that when you're putting these together, you put 4 of these corners together. And it can be a tad bulky. I am pressing the seams open. Let's see, a little bit of everything. That'll take that corner off nicely. And this will cover it, and so will this. And then let's look at this corner. This is something happy. Here we go. How do I know if this corner comes to a complete corner, or if I don't have a little bit of the corner showing? I'm going to pull out my trim lock ruler that So Be It Quilt sells and line it up with this side, line it up with this side, and look at that. That corner is covered. In fact, I'm going to just go ahead and trim it off like this. And I am going to save this piece because it's kind of big enough. Then I'll get them pressed down. If you lay the trim lock ruler or any ruler with a corner, this 5-inch trim lock is the one I like to use. I still need some more fabric on that, which is no problem. I have plenty of fabric. This is cute. And this one, ooh, we got lots of yellow, got lots of red. How about some green? Green and blue. Here we go. Let's test this one to see if I'm going to have to add another piece on it. And oh yeah, I will. Purple. Okay, here goes a piece of purple. Okay, that one works. That one works. That one works. I'm going to run to the ironing table and press these. You know how my iron works. I'll be right back. I am done. So I am going to clean up all of these tiny little scraps, because if you're sewing scrappy, you'll use them again. But let's get them out of the way. These pattern bags or Ziploc bags work great for the scraps. Okay, now let's square these corners up. Now, one thing I don't do on this is I do not starch these, because this piece is already starched and trimmed. I don't want this piece shrinking again. When you use spray starch, even if you're using a Laura Star, spray starch will shrink. So I'm not going to starch them again, and that's just fine. I've got the corner lined up with my trim lock. Look at this, isn't this the coolest? Whoa, baby, check me out, I'm a trim lock. I love these rulers. I did lose it just a little bit. All right. I can turn it around. I wasn't pushing down on that. Usually it holds it really tight. Okay. Because there's a nice gripper on the side. Let's get this one going. Here we go. And then this is the last one with some of my brand new scraps on it. That aqua and red look really kind of cool. I'm excited about it. Let's trim this bad boy up. Will you look at that? Let me zoom out and show you how I put these together. This is the very last row of the quilt, and I'm going to be working upside down. Let me make sure I have this on the right side. Yes, and yes I do. So the bottom row of the quilt is going to look like this. And I'm going to arrange these blocks up here. And this will go fine with it. It won't repeat itself. Ooh, I think I want to put this olive green up. However, there isn't a green. Let me see how this one would work. Those look an awfully lot alike. I'm gonna do them in this order then. So I'm going to set this one up here. I'm going to put this on it because that's the side I'm going to sew. So I'll set it up here out of the way. And then I'm going to attach this. And when I attach it, because they're all squared up to 12.5 inches, they very nicely fit together. Here that corner matches. And then I'm going to lay it out and make sure these raw edges are exactly on top of each other. I will put one pin right here. Now when I sew on my Juki, I'm using the outside of the presser foot right here as an edge. Oh, by the way, back tack, okay? I'm using it as the edge of my stitching. However, it's not a true 1/4 inch. So I am sewing this at a scant 1/4 inch. Back tacking, and then we're going to sew and pin, not in that order. We're going to pin and sew this one on, and the last row will be done. I will, oh, I'm so excited. Then I'm going to take you down to the quilting studio, and we are going to long arm this puppy. First, I have to sew the back together. I can't wait to show you what I've got for the back. What would you put on as backing if you were working with a scrappy quilt like this? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. This is my quilt. Before I sew this on, the big piece, I'm going to press these two seams open. And I want you to see my seams. This is how I'm pressing them, all open, because there's a lot of bulk on these corners, and that's why. So I went with open. So give me a second. I'll get these two pressed. I'll sew this on there, and then we're going to find out what backing I picked to put on this quilt. I am all done, and I'm going to lay this out. Isn't this cute? The reason I'm laying it out, hang on there, is because I want to go over my backgrounds that I selected. You're going to, I told you I was going to do an absolutely wild background, and I put, this is what I've had in mind the whole time, and Michelle said, ooh, Mom, no. So I know it's only on the back, but by the time, it is going to have a scrappy binding. By the time I get it, I'm afraid this is out. And then I went with this background. I thought, oh, this is fun. To which Michelle said, ew, Mom, no. There's just too much going on. So my plans for this background is to use it on block number 1, which was white and little blocks. I think it's going to look better with a white background quilt, these cats. Then I thought, okay, Michelle, how about this? And she said, well, you're getting closer, but it's kind of boring. And I think she's right, kind of boring. But this is in it. What do you think of that? This is a 40s reproduction fabric, and I think this is going to be adorable on the back. So does Michelle. So I'm going to sew these two together and get it down on the long arm, and you will see me next heading for the long arm. Here I am in the studio. It is like, oh my gosh, going on 9 o'clock. I'm tired, but I'm going to get this done tonight. Come hell or high water. It might be hell, but it'll be done. All right, here I go. Ta-da! Ta-da! I just want to snuggle up on the wall and wrap this quilt around me. What do you think? Do you love the texture that the quilting gave it? I do. I'm going to try and see if you can see a little more of the quilting. And I'm so sorry I didn't film more of the quilting, guys. Remember I said it was come hell or high water. It's like 1:30. I was tired. I dawdled. I just was too tired to film. But this is my quilt. It is done. I can't wait to bind it. Of course, I'm going to put a scrappy binding on it. And this is how it looks on the other side. Pretty pink, but really, this is the best of all of those bindings. This is the best of those backings that are over there. So I love the way it works and looks. I want to show you some close-ups. Take a look at specifically the corners and the squares. They don't match. They don't have, well, they do have points, but they're just kind of not there. But that's what this quilt is all about. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And if you take a look at the intersections where the, here, like this one, if you take a look at those intersections, they're not even 100%. But it doesn't matter. It's a scrappy quilt, and nobody's going to be looking at that. What they're going to be looking at is the overall effect. So I am loving the overall effect. I think the colors are absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to wash it. I did put wool in it. After it's washed, it's going to soften up. Remember, I have all of that starch in it, and that's really going to soften the quilt up. It is in the morning. I've had a good night's sleep, and there is nothing like the beautiful sunlight, natural light coming in to show off the pattern on this quilt. I wanted you to see it. This is the back. The design I used is called Wild Cherries. Michelle felt very strongly that the front of this quilt just needed texture, so we gave a design that gave it texture. Want to see the other side? Oh, I do. And here's the other side with the quilting on it. I think this turned out so darling. I am going to have so much fun under this quilt. Here, I'm going to show you a close-up of how the squares turned out. They're not 100% square, and you know what? I don't care. I like the way they look. So this one is actually 100% square, almost. That's probably my best one. But most of them have corners like this. And it just doesn't bother me at all because this is such a scrappy quilt. Let's take a look at the whole quilt. Here is the whole quilt. Kind of a close-up. In the morning light. Can't stand it. I'm in love. So from my humble little strip scrap, or is it a scrap strip? It's late. Anyway, from this humble little strip scrap, scrappy strip, scrappy strip. Oh my gosh, I got this. Wait till it's bound. It's going to be awesome. I finished this quilt just in time to go down and watch my granddaughter Jillian graduate. Now, Jillian doesn't like a lot of fanfare. She's kind of a quiet girl, but she's pretty funny. She's really funny. But let me tell you, she's graduating high honors. We're so proud of her. She has 4 ropes, a medallion. She has the National Honor Society collar. Yeah, the kid's got it, and she's got one heck of a scholarship to go to a university next year. We're pretty, or actually to go to university this fall. We're pretty excited for her. I appreciate you watching my channel, and if you like what you see, I'd love a thumbs up. Scrappy is so stinking much fun. I'm going to be doing a lot of Scrappy this year. If you think this Scrappy was cool, next week's video is going to be all about Scrappy too, but it's Scrappy from people's clothing. It's going to be eye-opening. Thank you for watching my channel. I'll see you towards the end of next week. If you like what you see, thumbs up. and subscribe. I love you. I love your comments. Keep them coming. Bye.